Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic: when does courtesy become policy? I have always been fascinated by the bright line some service providers draw between a courtesy and a policy. I think it's a distinction without a difference. What do you think? By breaking policy, these service providers then tell you they are doing you a wonderful courtesy. And the implied pressure, the real threat, is usually that if they were not doing you this particular courtesy, you would be paying more hard money. Hard money to comply with the real policy. And so the threat becomes, behave, act well, and we may continue to extend you this courtesy. But if in fact you behave in a way that offends us or that we do not like, then we will punish you by invoking existing policy, and we shall then revoke all courtesies herein extended unto you, therein, and wherefore. Well, we have always preferred no courtesy. I like knowing who I owe, how much and what I'm expected to pay, and when and why. I like rules. I like policies. I like hard lines that cannot be crossed. But the courtesy, in every way, is always expected to be repaid. I did this unasked thing for you. And that's the key to a courtesy. You can't ask for it. It has to be given to you. And since I did you this courtesy, and now, in return, you are going to do this specific thing for me, and you cannot deny me, and you cannot turn down my request. So, rather quickly, a courtesy becomes a knife that cuts only one way. That knife cuts into you. Because you cannot invoke it, but you have to pay for that courtesy anyway. By returning a favor, a courtesy, or by being indebted to the one who did you the courtesy pretending to be a favor, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because you're stuck. You cannot decline a courtesy. I hereby extend this courtesy unto you. No, that's okay. I'll stick to the policy. Never, sir. Not for you. I extend this courtesy unto you. So there's no way out of it. Courtesies, once invoked, given, are bred to brood you. You are now an indentured servant to the one who bestowed upon you the courtesy that claims you. The courtesy that you never really even wanted in the first place. And my human meme friend, there is no going back either. You can't on your own substitute policy to replace the courtesy. No, once offered, twice offended. The courtesy is yours, and you are hereby and therefore since owned and operated. The only downside to being overly courteous is that if it is offered too often, then it becomes a policy. So be wary of what you wish for those wishes may become the policy you abhor. Now, this whole conversation has led me to think about another pair of twists. Evil twins. The exception and the favor. Are the exception and the favor the same thing as a courtesy? Well, probably never are they policy, right? A favor is something you can ask for. Favors don't have to be extended like courtesies. And asking for help in a favor can actually prove to be a powerful weapon in bonding with someone. Most of us are wired to help out when we can, to spread our power where we will at will. And so asking for a favor creates an interesting power dyad between the asked and the answered. Favors are much friendlier than a courtesy because you don't have to remind someone who did you a favor that a favor was done for you. You remember. People who do you courtesies are always in the state of reminding you of what courtesy was specifically gifted to you, and that you now have to return in some manner. A favor, on the other hand, is time-sensitive. It happens and then it's gone. The favor expires. And you really don't have to reciprocate a favor. But you can. Many people do. And they do it of their own free will. If you do a favor for someone, you cannot later expect someone to repay you a favor. Because that, in its essence, is bad form. Now, someone might do you a favor later, but that new favor does not have anything to do with the originating favor. Know these rules. The rules of favoritism. Now, exceptions are insanely interesting. Exceptions are not a courtesy, not a policy, and not a favor. Exceptions are momentary breaks in the law of order that are only beneficial to you, and they are totally free. Exceptions get people into trouble. Exceptions are valuable. Exceptions are contextual and time-limited. You cannot ask for an exception. Exceptions are granted to you with free will and no strings attached. Exceptions are not planned. The best exceptions are required to be absolutely spontaneous. And so, my delightful human meme friend, we have now successfully created the pyramid scheme of human interaction. With the tip of the tipping point, the beast of the spear, is a courtesy teetering atop a policy, balancing ever so delicately upon the favor, wobbling firmly atop the strong shoulders of the giant exception. Offer no courtesy. Always break the policy. Forever do a favor. Be eternally exceptional. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.